What's up, everyone? It's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, Florida, and I'm joined by my buddy Justin Augustine.
Jacksonville, Florida Living Channel. Jacksonville, Florida, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go. Duval.
It's not
Jaguars not in anymore.
I know, man. Such a disappointment. Really,
Hey, go back to the podcast that we did at the beginning. I don't know, it was probably 6 months ago where I said everyone's overrating the Jaguars.
Yeah.
They barely made it on the skin of their teeth last playoffs to even get in. And I said that this season's not going to be as good as people think. And what happened?
You're just a jaded Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
I just know my city. I know we don't never win shit. So
we were, the first couple of games they did well, and then
it snowballed after mid-season and started going real downhill for them. So
yeah, that sucks, man. I was because that's the thing. I think it really does bring a whole bunch of energy to the city, a whole bunch of positivity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then it gets more people talking about what Shad Khan's going to do with downtown Jacksonville and everything. I don't know. I enjoy all of it.
We actually need the Jaguars to do well to help the betterment and the development of our city, because the better the Jaguars do, the more likely those projects are going to expedite,
Isn't that weird? I feel like that's, even though we're joking a little bit, there is a layer of truth to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's such a big, what would you say, a big driver of jobs and the local economy there, right?
Yeah.
Because
it just drives excitement to the area, especially downtown Jacksonville,
For sure. Yeah, because not too much excitement down there as of right now.
No, or as of ever.
Yeah. But you feeling rested and relaxed?
Yeah. So we just got back from vacation. My wife and myself went with Thomas and Maya to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
They showed us around. I mean, we were there for almost a week, right? 6 days, something like that.
Yeah, we were there 6 days. Yeah, my wife is Puerto Rican, if you guys don't know. But we we made Noah honorary Puerto Rican this past.
That's
past
right.
vacation.
My son, he's under 2 years old, and we took him on his first big, international trip. Well, I guess he went to Canada recently, but not over the ocean.
It's not even technically international. I don't know what they want to be.
But yeah, it was lovely. Puerto Rico was awesome. I mean, it was the first time I've been to Hawaii. So what I was telling Thomas when we were there is that Puerto Rico is kind of it's like a closer, cheaper version of Hawaii.
Yeah.
You don't have to go on a 16-hour flight to get there. It's only a 3-hour flight to get to Puerto Rico.
Yep.
It's right here next to Florida. So if you live in Florida, Puerto Rico versus Hawaii, you want it to be a lot cheaper. Puerto Rico's the way to go.
Yeah.
Hawaii is fucking expensive.
For sure. And people think it's traveling. A lot of people think, oh, I'm traveling internationally. You're not. It's technically part of the United States. Yeah. U.S. dollars. Your phone still works. Pretty much everyone speaks English. It's really easy to get around. So, yeah.
And the beaches are awesome.
Oh,
it looks, we got some footage. We went on a little hike.
Yeah.
On the beach, there was this. I forget the name of the hike, but we went over some caves.
Survival Beach, yeah.
Yeah, Survival Beach, and it was just this trek through the cliffs, and then at the end you can see this stretch of beach, and it's just beautiful. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places in the world. So I know what I think about it, but overrated, underrated Puerto Rico.
I mean, it's definitely underrated. Puerto Rico, after going, I've never really had the desire to go to Puerto Rico before, but that's just because I was always ignorant. I didn't know, just Puerto Rico. I know plenty of people from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
If they're moving here in droves, then
yeah, for sure.
they can't be that good. But that's just not the case. It's awesome there. Obviously, you and Maya, while you were there, were like, oh, how much does this Airbnb cost? How much could I buy a vacation rental here? What could we do as an investment? And it's really cool. It made me, got me thinking, man, maybe that's something I should do too. Maybe I should buy a little condo in Puerto Rico.
Living in Puerto Rico channel coming soon. Really, we talked about that the whole time. A lot, part of it was a business trip, right? We did some content and all that kind of stuff, but we also relaxed.
I'll put some of that footage over top this podcast so you can see just how beautiful Puerto Rico is.
Yeah, how awesome it is. It really is. It's a fantastic place. Well, let's not dwell too much on the vacation.
Back to work, right? Back to
work,
reality.
Back to it. Yeah, people are like, yo, shut up. Let's talk about Florida. So let's go ahead and hop into it. We'll go into something that's more of a national news but could affect Jax pretty well.
Yeah.
So rail funding is coming to Jacksonville. Is anyone paying attention? Right? That's the article here. So essentially, the U.S. Department of Transportation's Federal Railroad Administration has awarded $8.2 billion to construct 10 passenger rail projects across the country and more for corridor planning activities nationwide. This follows a $16.4 billion investment announced last month for 25 rail projects of national significance along America's busiest corridors. So, what this could mean for our area, for Jacksonville, for Florida in general, is that they want to create a railway system between Jacksonville to Miami and then stopping in Orlando, somewhere, it's directly east of Orlando, and then running a line essentially
probably somewhere like Sanford or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Running it from Sanford all the way to Tampa. So then pretty much all of the major cities within Florida would be connected by this railway system.
I mean, all right, overrated, underrated. What do you think about this project?
Oh, I mean, I think it's underrated. I don't think anyone knows about it.
That's the point of the article, right? Is anyone listening?
That's it, right?
No, nobody is.
How does no one? And more than likely, we'll talk about this more. But like, people are going to complain and bitch and be like, "Oh, it's going to change the fabric of the city." Like, yeah, that's the point. Like, you're supposed to change the city as more people move to it and as it becomes a bigger and more technologically advanced city.
I could go on a big like Bill Burr rant about people who just straight up bitch about their city developing. Like, if you want to live in a place that doesn't change, go live in a rural like town. I don't know what to tell you, you know?
like Arkansas. Or, I don't know. I don't know anything about Arkansas, but I'm just
you don't even got to go that far. Go to like Callahan or something, or Hilliard. Like, it's lovely out there. If you want it to not change or change at a very slow rate,
right,
go for a rural town.
I think about it. It's like, imagine when like the automobile came out. People were like, oh my God.
What am I going to do with my horses now? I just bought them.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. How mad would you be? You bought a horse and then the automobile comes out and it's like kind of affordable comparatively.
Oh
You'd
my
be like,
God.
Damn it. I freaking wasted that money.
I messed up, man.
But yeah, I mean, I think a railway from Jacksonville to St. Augustine's already been in talks, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of think that.
Do you think they would be using the same rail line?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be. It'd almost be dumb not to, right?
Right,
like, why would you get the federal money, to run a railway from Jacksonville to Miami and then just like, hey,
build a whole nother infrastructure of railroad? It would make no sense.
It makes me think that maybe there'll be, I mean, it's possible they do two separate ones, but because like if you're in New York, you have the express trains, you have local trains, right? So like those local trains stop at every single stop. If you guys hear some whining, my dog I have a puppy, she's outside crying.
Oh, poor baby.
But they have express and local. So like obviously for St. Augustine, we're gonna need some more local stops. And if you're trying to go from Jacksonville to Miami real quick, you're not gonna want a pit stop in St. Augustine, or maybe in Orlando. I guess you have to, but I'd see it more as like an Amtrak service than anything.
I think it's great. I mean, anything that's going to help people travel between cities in a different manner, because I'll tell you one thing, I hate driving down to Orlando. It's a nightmare. Not because it takes particularly long. It's like 2.5 hours depending on traffic, but that's just it. I hate the traffic,
Yeah.
I hate that drive to and from Orlando. And Tampa as well. So it's like there's always some sort of accident on 95 or I-4 is a nightmare.
Yep.
So it's like if they have an alternative way for people to travel in between those areas, this is a great idea. And not only that, now that I'm talking about, just thinking about it now, if you have Orlando to Tampa connected by rail, and then Orlando to Miami to Jacksonville all connected by rail, a lot of that tourism that comes into Orlando, where they're coming to see Disney or Universal or some of the theme parks there, they're going to have the opportunity to travel to the other cities like St. Augustine to tour St. Augustine. I know a lot of locals in St. Augustine have some contempt for tourism, but let's be honest here, that's most of the local economy in St. Augustine. It's a business, baby. You're going to bring more tourism here. You're going to bring more wealth into the local economy here in St. Augustine.
And that, just speaking on Orlando, that's actually a fantastic a point, right? Like, how many people go to Orlando and like, hey, they want to go to the beach. All right, well then you can hop on a train to Tampa, or you can, it wouldn't take you all the way East Coast, but probably further, you go to Tampa, but then you go to the beach there, and then you go to the casinos there, and that makes a lot of sense, right? So, and they've already talked about like how Tampa is growing so much and Orlando is growing so much. They're pretty much just going to be one giant city at a certain point. Yeah. In the near future.
Just swallowing each other up.
Pretty much, yeah. And I mean, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but I also saw I-4 got rated like the worst interstate in the United States.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't doubt it, dude. I-4 is a freaking nightmare.
Do you remember when they had the toll roads there, and
Yes.
it was like before there was Easy Pass or anything. So it's like, and it took change.
Get your quarters out, baby.
Yeah.
You better have your coin purse in your glove compartment ready.
Yeah, it's like, yo,
And then like everyone's like in this long ass line shuffling, like where's my nickels in my ashtray? You know what I'm saying?
They were so frequent. It was like 50 cents for like 10 miles
I
or
know,
something
I
like
know.
that. And you're like, what the hell is this? This makes no sense. But either way, let's not harp on that too long. Let's go into the next news story, which is going to talk about the new laws that are coming to Florida. Well, they're already here now. It's 2024. They're starting to take effect at the beginning of this year. So I'm going to just breeze through a couple of them. We won't talk about all of them, but so the Persons with Disabilities Registry introduces the Protect Our Loved Ones Act, authorizes law enforcement to maintain a database named with the Persons with Disabilities Registry to address concerns over interactions between police and individuals with disabilities. And this one is one that we'll talk about more. Ethics requirement for public officials. Local elected officials are now mandated to disclose their financial dealings. Interestingly enough, this law has led to a significant wave of resignations across the state, with numerous officials stepping down. Like,
good. See ya. Bye.
Like what?
Adios.
What in the world? Like, how? What are you doing? That's obviously
Exactly.
a big red flag.
Red flag.
You should be able to go back and be like, all right, so you stepped down for a reason. I'm investigating you now. Because
100%.
Why did you step down? Pretrial release and detention implements changes to Florida's bail and pretrial detention system, tightens pretrial release options for certain felony offenders based on their criminal history. Transportation, expansion of the move over law. So drivers must now move over for disabled vehicles displaying hazard lights, emergency flares, or emergency signage. So if you're on 95, it's a 3-lane highway, and a cop pulls someone over to the side of the road, you either need to slow down 20 miles per hour below the speed limit, or you need to move over into the next lane.
Got it.
Otherwise, you get a ticket. State park camp reservations. Essentially, people that live in Florida can reserve state park camp reservations 11 months before their desired booking date, where non-residents have to wait 10 months. And then sheriffs providing child protective investigative services. So let's talk about the Persons with Disabilities Registry and the ethics requirements for public officials.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we've all seen the videos online, right, where it's like, oh, they're dealing with like a mentally unstable person, like maybe he's holding a knife or whatever, and then cops just shoot him, you know, or something like that. You think that's what this is trying to address?
I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, there's so many, I guess, issues with how things get handled in those situations. And this is just kind of like one way to handle it. It's not going to solve the problem completely, obviously, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, it seems a little common sense. It's almost as if like someone, you know, public officials have, or at least public, you know, the police will have a registry of people who are, you know, registered as mentally unstable or have a disability. And if they do interact with these individuals, they know what they're getting into, essentially. They don't need to, you know, overreact or be too quick to, you know, get frisky. So
I think this just shows how much I don't know, right? Like, so both of those laws right there, like, I figured that had been a thing already.
Yeah,
right?
you would think, right?
You would think that, like, they would know, like, you know, somehow there'd be, like, a healthcare database that would also coincide with the, you know, the police state database. I don't know, whatever you'd call it. That would kind of give them some information, you know, before going into a situation like that when they get a call. You know, obviously there's things that they can't get information directly, you know.
Yeah.
But like if they're getting a call, hey, we need you to go to 123 Main Street. There's a disturbed individual, yada yada. The person that lives there is dealing with this, right? Like, well, that's knowledge is power in that situation.
Absolutely. I think it can only do good. It's a step in the right direction. You know, I know that in some instances it may not be as, you know, if you're dealing with a situation where really what it does is it incentivizes the people dealing with that situation to kind of like take it easy, take it calm, take it slow. Because, for example, if you have an instance on the street, you have to ID the man or the person, I don't want to say man, the person, individual, before knowing if they are on that registry or not. Mm-hmm. And the way you do that, you're not going to ask them, hey, what's your name? What's your ID? They're not going to tell you if they're, you know, incapacitated to some mental degree, right? So it forces, I guess, law enforcement to kind of take things slow, ask the neighborhood around, okay, this guy, do you know him? ask the neighbor, take it slowly so you're not rushing in there, pulling the guns out, pulling the tasers out, or trying to get too physical too fast.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we're really talking about mental disabilities here, but I mean, if you have physical disabilities, I mean, let's say that an officer tases someone and they have
heart problem or
some shit like that, well, I mean, that's obviously not ideal,
No, not at all.
That's not what you want. Get your heart pumping a good bit at that point. All right, well, let's go on to the next one then. The next one is, sorry, I just clicked off it. The next one has to deal with ethics for public officials. Right?
I love this one. This is a great one.
Like, how is this even a thing? How are public officials like? Well, one, now you see, like, okay, so if we didn't think the state of Florida was corrupt already,
yeah,
it kind of makes me feel like it's pretty corrupt.
It's like it's almost like, wait, why? Y'all are just passing something like this into law? Like, this should have been a thing for a long time now. You mean it wasn't this way?
It's like the stock ban for congressmen. It's like, or congresswomen. It's like, that's not a thing. Like, these guys can just trade on insider information, and we just gotta deal with it. Like, all these guys can trade better than Warren Buffett somehow. I don't get it.
And you said that they're after this law was I guess announced that it was going to be passed into law, that there was a bunch of resignations in the state government.
Yeah, it said a significant wave of resignations across the state, with numerous officials stepping down, especially in the Tampa Bay area. So I guess Tampa.
Oh, damn. Tampa's they getting down in it's Gotham City out there, my boy.
Yeah, seriously, it is corrupt out there.
I mean, what a great law. Honestly, there should be complete financial transparency in all levels of government. I don't care if it's from local, municipal, city council, all the way up to the Senate and the House. It just all needs to be transparent, because the more transparency you have, the more confidence voters, American citizens, will have in their government, whether it be local, state, or federal. So
yeah,
I mean, it seems common sense to me, but I guess it hasn't been common sense for a long time to where they just needed to pass it now.
Problem is, people like you and I are like, I don't want to deal with this political clown show,
Yeah.
So, like, look, here's also something interesting, right? So this extends the existing requirement for financial disclosure that already applies to the governor, lawmakers, county commissioners, school board members, and sheriffs. So it was there, but
it didn't apply to certain
positions, right?
Wow.
Now, if you're enacting government, like, and you're putting, let's say that law that it was, let's say they put that in 50 years ago. Well, why those people, why were those people exempt from that, that law?
Yeah. Well, something shady. Well, those resignations speak very loudly, right? I mean, there's something going on with those people, so.
100%. I mean.
It just shows that the law's working, right?
Yeah, I guess that's a good
I don't
way
even
to
know
look
if it's
at it.
enacted yet, but it's definitely working already.
Only fighting corruption, like, I mean, 30 years late in my case, like, you'd think they'd do this. You'd think they would do this in the early 2000s at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, such is life.
Good riddance. See ya.
Yeah.
Adios.
So let me
get out of my state, boy.
Yeah, right. Or get out of the government. Like, yeah, they'll
Absolutely.
probably move to another state. Work in the government there where the law doesn't exist. So overrated. Let's skip to the next one. Overrated, underrated. Jacksonville International Airport.
Ooh, I think Jacksonville International Airport is underrated. And I only say that because no one even knows about Jacksonville International Airport. So
True.
The only way you can go is up from there.
It's barely an international airport. It's got like maybe 2 flights.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they really harp on the international word. They're really getting the best use out of it for sure. I mean, it's historically has been very quiet of an airport. I'm born and raised in Jacksonville, so I know I've flown out of JIA many times, and it's always been very quiet. Even in the summertime, it's always been quiet. I will say, however, in recent years, I guess my later adult life now, the more that I've flown out of Jacksonville International Airport, I'm seeing that it's a lot busier, which I think is a good thing. Like, people say, oh my God, it's so busy. Like, I get it. Like, you don't want to go to the airport and it be busy and it's hectic, but what does that mean when the airport's busy? The airport's busy because people, one, have the financial freedom to be able to fly on a frequent basis, or more people have access to be able to fly in and out of Jacksonville. That means more people are in the city contributing to our local economy, and they're going on vacation or they're going to see relatives in other cities. So that just means that there's more people, more economy in Jacksonville. So I only see it as a good thing the more busy Jacksonville International Airport is. So I think it's definitely underrated for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, my wife hates me for it, but I get to the airport like maybe an hour before my flight starts boarding, you know.
You're that guy.
I'm 100% that guy. I can't stand being in an airport.
I got my backpack. That's it.
That's all I need. And then Frontier will kick you off because it doesn't fit the little.
Or just make you pay $100.
Yeah, Jesus. Well, so along with that, JIA permit to build new gates, more flights under city review. So they have a $300 million project. They're adding a new wing called Concourse B to the airport. And as of right now, it only has 3 concourses, right?
Yeah.
So they have an A, B, C concourse.
Mm-hmm. I think this project is obviously a great thing. Like, again, this kind of reiterates on what I just said, where, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who don't want this construction to happen because during construction will mean that there's a little bit more growing pains in the actual airport for travelers. But when it's all done, did they say when it's going to be done? 2026 maybe?
Let me see here. I'll see if I can find it here.
But probably a few years.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a few years because it's a big project. And anything that costs $300 million.
Yeah, it ain't going to be done overnight, you know?
2026 is what they said.
Okay, there you go. Yep. So in between the construction to 2026 when it's finished, there will be some growing pains, but it's ultimately a great thing. They're adding more gates. They're adding more flights in and out of Jacksonville. It's really only a good thing, in my view. And I know that they also there's an airline. I can't remember the name of the airline, but there's an airline that's going to do direct flights to and from San Diego to Jacksonville International Airport, which is huge. Breezeway, yes. Yeah. It was a smaller one. I don't remember exactly, but
but how awesome is that?
I mean, you got to think about it. Like, Jacksonville is it's not necessarily a military town, but it is a military town. We have several bases here, several operations of the military here, and not only just in Jacksonville, but also in our surrounding areas as well. And San Diego is also a big military city, right? It's huge, right? And a lot of people move from California to Florida. Historically, we know that that's the case. So, I mean, I don't want to scare anybody like, oh, you're going to have so many people moving over here. Good, we should. Yeah. I mean, you want our city to grow, and who better to help our city grow than, you know, our already appreciated military families, you know? Coming from San Diego, every 3 years they get a new assignment, and a lot of times it can be Jacksonville, NAS Jax, Mayport. So I think that's a great thing to have that direct flight access to and from San Diego. Yeah,
as you look at this article, there's people that complain. They're like, well, if you build the airport, well, more people are going to move here. And it's like that's not how it works, dude.
That's backward. That's you have it switched.
Putting the cart before the horse, you know. Like in reality, it's like no, like people are moving here.
Yeah, right? More people already move here and live here, and as that grows, they need to build a bigger airport to facilitate the population and the growth of Jacksonville, not the other way around.
Yeah,
no one's like on Google like, how big is Jacksonville International Airport? Oh, it's pretty big now. Let me go move to Jacksonville.
Yeah, you know,
they're looking at Jacksonville as a city in itself. Oh, is it a good place to live? Is it affordable? Yeah. What are the great areas to live in Jacksonville? What is there to do in Jacksonville? What does the job economy look like? Yeah. They're doing all of that research before they decide to move to a city. So
no one cares about the airport.
No one cares about the airport.
Obviously, you care if you got to go in and out. It's like, all right, so let's say everyone moves here and then they don't do anything at the airport. Okay, well, great. You're gonna wait 2, 3, 4 hours in line to get through the gate to go to and it's gonna be all packed. What? Some of the thinking of people is makes my head hurt.
I don't think there's much thinking there.
There's no thinking. Yeah, it's just maybe they're just nervous getting interviewed. I don't know. So let's head on to our next news story, and maybe we do a overrated, underrated for both of us here.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Silverleaf. Silverleaf, overrated or underrated? What do you think?
You know, I could definitely answer that both ways, and I'll say it like this: Silverleaf is underrated in the sense that the potential that they plan to create over there in North St. John's County with Silverleaf is so comparable on a scale, and even a bigger of a scale than the likes of Nocatee. And we know that Nocatee has just been voted #1 best neighborhood to raise a family in all of Florida.
Yep.
So his #2, and I don't remember the other one, in all the nation or something like that.
They're just awarded. Like,
they're decorated for sure.
Yeah, they got
so it's definitely underrated in the sense that what they want to achieve is on a scale of a place like Nocatee, which is awesome. And honestly, maybe not that many people even know about Silverleaf. It's overrated, I think, in the sense that I think they're rushing things too much. They're trying to build one phase at a time. It's great to have all these, equestrian center plans and this whole, central structure where there's going to be commercial business with apartment housing on top and all this development. Let's do one phase at a time. One D.R. Horton at a time. One Dreamfinders at a time. One Toll Brothers at a time.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to, make it seem like it's going to be the next best thing, which it may as well be. But let's do one step at a time first. We'll get there.
Yeah, I agree. So if you're asking me, Silverleaf overrated or underrated, like in terms of as a buyer looking for a deal, I think it is underrated, right? Because of, like you said, what you outlined, the potential of what Silverleaf could be. And I think it even has more of a scale than Nocatee because of it just being brand new, and everything is going to be brand new in there. All the commercial space they have, I think it said 2.9 million square feet of commercial space they want to put in there.
That's awesome. I love it.
Like that's a lot of space.
That's what you don't get to see a lot in a lot of other neighborhoods or bigger master plan communities. There's not enough commercial around it.
Yeah.
So places like, for example, this is not a dig on E-Town, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
E-Town, master plan community, they just built a Publix there, and I get it, it's newer, but there's just not enough commercial around there. You have to kind of get on the highway if you want to go to the pavilion at Durbin Park to get your serious shopping done, where you're going to have the Home Depot, the Walmart, the movie theater, all the different restaurants, all the different other shops and boutique stores as well, the Targets and things like that. So I think having that much commercial space in Silverleaf is going to be a game changer, because when you look at Nocatee, you see that they have the Nocatee Town Center and how bustling that place is, how they have everything you need. You don't have to leave Nocatee if you live in Nocatee. You have everything right there. So, I mean, to have the ambition to have that much commercial space in Silverleaf is only a good thing, is only a good sign as to how much it can compete with a place like Nocatee.
Yeah, and I think what we're saying, what you said goes along with, like, hey, it's moving really fast. So, like, the article here is Silverleaf ranked the 9th fastest growing master plan community in the entire United States.
That's insane.
That's insanity, right? When you have a community that, when it's completed out, will be 16,000 homes. It'll be 2.9 million square feet of commercial space. Like, that is a lot of stuff. And it's going to have 4,350 acres of conservation land. It's on Silverleaf in general is 11,000 acres, right? So I think Nocatee is 26 square miles. I want to say it's 14,000 acres. I could be wrong on that. I don't know what 26 square miles transfers into. Hey, stop it. Sorry, my dog is going hard on the door, scratching up my door. So I think with Silverleaf and how it's developed, and especially with the First Coast Expressway coming through there, I think it actually allows more opportunity for that commercial space, to where there'd be almost like a type of situation where you could have almost like a 2 town centers of Nocatee within Silverleaf, especially with the amount of square footage they have allotted for mixed use and commercial space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think go for it. That sounds like a plan. As long as, because you'll get neighborhoods that are so residential, but there's just not enough commercial. So the fact that they're preemptively thinking about that plan is a great thing. And number 9 fastest growing community in the nation. That's kind of an insane statistic right there, because, and we do see it. Me and you we'll go to Silverleaf every now and then, whether we're shooting something, checking out the new subdivision that they open up, new model home. We got buyers looking in the area. We got people looking to sell their home in Silverleaf. We're there all the time, so we see the development and how fast they are developing it, which it is at a very fast pace,
for sure.
Which is also a good sign, because with these ambitions, you would want to see the actions behind that. Because if you buy in Silverleaf now, you're in like the first baby phases of the community. It's nowhere near completed, obviously. So you want to see that the development of the community is living up to its reputation and their claims, right? That they're going to build 16,000 housing units after, and 3 million square feet of commercial space. You want to see that with your own eyes, and I think we can see that with how fast they are building out Silverleaf.
Yeah, and so year over year, Silverleaf saw a 25% increase in closed home sales and a 12% increase in average lot prices.
It's not surprising. I would say, I think both you and I can agree that when it comes to St. Augustine and Jacksonville, North St. Johns County, which is the area that Silverleaf is located, among other master plan communities, like Shearwater, Rivertown, places like that. It's the fastest growing, most sought after suburb of all of Jacksonville and St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Like it's just, if you're looking for new construction, you're a middle class family, you're relatively, you're not like, let's say you're not like low income. You're looking for, you got a career, you got a family, you got kids. Everyone's moving to North St. Johns County who fits that bill. And when you have a median sale price of, I think it's just under $500,000 right now. And again, you can get homes in there for less than that. That's just the median number. You can get homes for way higher than that, over a million there as well. Yeah. But it just goes to show you that people want to move there because it's the hottest, most up and coming suburb of all of Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Because it's kind of like in between the two of them, right? In between Duval and in between St. Augustine.
I think it's also like you're seeing affordability there comparatively to a lot of the master plan community. I mean, you look at Rivertown, Shearwater, right on that same strip as Silverleaf, or Nocatee, right? Nocatee's a little further away, but Beacon Lake, Beach Walk, all those places are much more expensive than Silverleaf. But a lot of people are also seeing like the upside. Like, okay, well, hey, if I wait this out 5-7 years, which average person lives in their home for, I think it was 7 years, but now it's 9 years, you're living in a pretty sick community in that time, right? So I think it's also like if you've driven around Nocatee and then you go drive around Silverleaf, you're kind of like, I can see, this is like a little baby over here, but this can grow, Whereas Nocatee is pretty much fully developed and you're moving into like a mature, beautiful neighborhood, you know?
And that clearly not a knock on Nocatee is amazing. Every time I go in there, it's just beautiful. The amount of activity that people are out and about, biking and walking, driving their golf carts and doing activities at the the pavilion and all kinds of things. So Nocatee definitely is sort of that exemplary community that I think Silverleaf will get to eventually. But like you mentioned, you're talking about two different price points. Silverleaf median sale price around $490,000 right now. Nocatee is somewhere around in the low 600s. So that's a huge jump in like I guess the median sales price for homes in those communities. And if you're looking for a Nocatee, but it's just out of your reach, it's a little bit too expensive. Silverleaf is almost the only other option if you want something like a Nocatee, at that price that they're offering it at. I think it's kind of like it's a testament to just why Silverleaf is growing so fast. It's the number 9 fastest growing community in all of the nation. So
yeah, I agree with you. I agree 100%. Well, listen, man, it sounds like my dogs are going absolutely nuts on my door out there. So let's wrap this up here. Where can the people find you?
All right, so Justin Augustine, realtor with Real Broker. I'm with my boy Tom now. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the damn thing.
Let's do it. Yes, sir.
You can find my channel on YouTube. It's Jacksonville, Florida Living. Just type that in. I'll pop up the first one. As long as no one else, takes my name in recent time and does better than me. So
They won't. He makes the best stuff. But yeah, awesome, guys. So appreciate you watching this thing the whole way through. If you are looking to buy, sell, or invest in St. Johns County, make sure you reach out to myself. If you're looking to buy in Jacksonville, make sure you reach out to Justin. If you need his contact information, you can reach out to me, and I'll give it to you. Hope you guys have a good one. Until next time.